I'm very excited to give you an overview of the Better Together program because we are one of the few incubators that have a focus on circularity out here. As you will see, there are a couple of areas which separate us from other incubation programs, and I tend to believe that makes us more successful. Even though we have a focus on circular economy, we kept the scope rather large. Some of our startups are dealing with B2C markets to produce convenient and affordable products. Others go to B2B and to ensure sustainable production, and still others are even addressing B2G, business to government, and we have them here in the audience today. While watching the pitches, I believe it's crucial to keep in mind that our program focuses on very early ventures that actually come or should come with an MVP, but most of these MVPs have been very crude in the beginning. Our goal was, and still is, to make the startup what we call partnership ready. And this differs a lot to the term investor ready, as our startup often need other forms of collaborations, be it finding a partner in R&D, sales and distribution, or maybe production. While in the program, our ventures are profiting from numerous advantages. For example, through the monthly stipend, the curriculum, access to top-notch master classes with experts coming from Osborne Clark or Talk Partners, for example, in finance. And of course, the access to our Impact Hub network, which brought them even internationally. And the list goes on and on and on. So if you like what you see, we ask you to help us in promoting the next batch, because there will another round of application starting tomorrow. And now, Leon will come on stage and share some exciting news with you guys. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's really great to see you all here. And I know the excitement that you're feeling. You're starting something new, and this is one of the kind of smaller or bigger milestones on that way. And as chance wants, at Impact Hub, we've been around for a couple of years, but you know, every so long, you start something new again, and we're also starting something new. And this is something we wanted to present to you today. As some of you might know, at Impact Hub, we've been looking at how to grow. And the thing is, circular economy has become one of the key topics for us, and in our growth, we wanted to make it one of the things that really drives us. So I'm very happy to announce that we're opening a new space, a 3,500 square meter co-working space with offices, laboratories, maker spaces, gastronomy, and obviously co-working in Neukölln, in a place that's called the Circular House, because it's actually constructed, planned, designed, and will be run fully circular. It will really give us the opportunity to have more space to create impact and a home for all of the teams and startups and entrepreneurs, just like yourselves, to work from there and connect, not only as part of a program, but actually ongoing. Because we believe the community is something that leverages and helps to innovate and grow your business, not only when you're in an accelerator or an incubation program, but actually throughout your growth and throughout building a business. And last but not least, we really, really hope to build Circular House and the new Impact Hub as a lighthouse project for the topic circular economy, because we believe in its really pivotal importance for Berlin, for Germany and beyond. And specifically young, innovative teams that come up with innovations will play a key role. So I really, really hope that you guys in this batch, but also the next batch, are gonna be teams that will stay with us, work, connect, and enjoy a time at the new place. And I really hope to see you and everyone out there who watches to meet you there soon in the future, once we open beginning of next year. And that's it for our little pitch. And now I'm really, really looking forward for Sarah to introduce the real teams, the pitches that we're actually here for. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Leon. And as you know, now we're coming to the most exciting part of this day. Let's meet the teams. We will start with our first fashion startup. That is Circular Sweater Project. Circular Sweater Project, Hannah and Michael are doing a B2B sweater that is completely circular, but they will tell you more. Welcome on the stage.
Hi everyone, we're super happy to be here. Thank you for having us. We're the Circular Sweater Project and the co-founders. I'm Hannah and this is Michael.
Our story began with a coffee break when Hannah came along with this wild idea. She's a fashion designer and one day she wanted sweaters to print on for her sustainable brand. You know, like simple, organic sweaters, B2B, that do no harm. That sounds really easy, but as you might know, the fashion industry has a waste problem. Only in Germany, 400,000 tons of textile waste pile up every year, and 35% of all microplastics in the oceans come from textiles. So what most people don't know is that your clothes add to this disaster, whether they're fashion, fast fashion, sustainable, or even organic. Almost none of the big brands out there consider what happens to their products after selling. So our decision was quicker than our coffee break. Let's make them ourselves, we said. Let's make the first sweaters that companies, retailers, and fashion labels can customize and print on that do no harm even after using. Can't be that difficult, right? But little did we know about the challenges we would have to face on the way.
So our first challenge was to tackle how to actually take microplastics out of the equation. The sweaters that you know contain mixed materials. They're made up of mixed materials. They contain elastan. They're made with polyester threads and the care labels that are just from a lot of mixed materials. So on the one hand, that helps to produce very, very quickly, like mass produce very quickly. And on the other hand, these products are either impossible or very, very difficult to reuse or recycle. So our vision is to create the contrary of that, to create a really biodegradable, naturally biodegradable, very easily biodegradable product. So after some trials and errors, we came up with a sweater that we really, really love, and that is made up of 100% organic cotton that comes from trustworthy cooperatives. And we work with one of the few printers using Cradle certified printing, and that contain no harmful chemicals or toxic dyes, microplastics, and surely do no harm after using. So thanks to the upcycling brand Sika, we also have no waste throughout the whole production process, because from our fabric leftovers, other products are made, for example this. So,
It seems like a perfect life cycle, no?
Yes, it seems like a perfect life cycle.
And yet, we were not happy. Do you have any idea how much energy it needs to produce and transport new clothes? Isn't there a way to use the sweaters more often than once?
There is. For that, we extended the idea of life cycles. So when our sweaters are not used anymore, we mend them, we repair them, and after really not being able to repair and mend them anymore, we shred them, and new yarn comes out of the old sweaters to become new sweaters. And only in the very, very end of the life cycle, the sweaters can actually be biodegraded very easily in your garden. The only thing is that we had to make sure how to actually get the sweaters back to us. If there's a smart way to get them back to us very easily and make sure that that happens.
Luckily, we found partners that look into the same direction. Together with Armed Angels, Otto, and others, we are now one of 6 pilot partners that circular fashion and Verwertung are testing. Thanks to a circularity ID, which is basically an RFID code, every worn-out sweater can be scanned by recycling facilities, is then sorted out, and comes back to us to be refurbished and reborn.
Exactly. And then we were thinking that isn't it really exciting to imagine all the sweaters' life cycles and all the sweaters' lives and experiences that they gain over time. So we think so too. We think that it's a very exciting thought to imagine this, and we wanted to create a tool, a digital tool, to actually create those experiences to be accessible. So through the digital tool, through a QR code, we have a community section where every user can leave personal notes. Also, it contains a transparency page regarding the production and the repairing through the circularity ID. And also, it allows embedding your company's website eventually and add ads. And in the long run, it will give very valuable data-driven insights into post-consumer behaviors.
Yeah. As you can see, we've come a long way thanks to our wonderful team who share a greater vision, and thanks to our friends and family that helped to shape and spread the idea. Without them, we would not be here today.
So here it is, our final circular sweater, our hero sweater. We've gained first interest from a big German sportswear retailer. We've produced and sold the first batch, and the first larger production is scheduled for February 2022.
So if you are a retailer or a company that has an eye on the sustainability market, then we should definitely talk. Because today, you can save your spot for the first delivery, and since we're celebrating, you get the digital sweater customized for free.
Amazing, right? So if you feel like you want to support us in any other way, we're open for it. Come talk to us. Send us an email. We're here, and we're very, very happy to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. We have time for one or two questions. We will see. So first of all, I would like to ask the crowd here, does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, we also have the chat. And yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Are there any questions in the chat?
Oh, we have a question.
I want to wonder, what is the price?
What is the price? Okay.
That's a great question. The best thing is you come over after the session and we can talk, because the price depends very much on the number you want to have, of course. So if you buy like 10,000, it's going to be cheaper than if you buy 10.
Is there any other question? Otherwise, I would ask, for the chat.
What are the volumes of sweaters you want to produce next year?
What are the volumes of sweaters? The volumes. We are aiming for 2,000 a month. And this is the aim that we're going for at the moment.
Yeah. But as we said in the pitch, it is important for us that we do not produce like 2,000 new sweaters a month, but that like as soon as possible we start kind of recycling our own sweaters, so then when the first ones come back, we can repair and mend them and bring them back into new lives. That would be very important. But also we will scale up and offer other products. Like right now we have one sweater, that is this one, and we have coming up the hoodie that you saw in our presentation. But soon we will also have a trouser, and we will start making shirts and eventually a jacket. So it takes some time, but that's where we are heading. There's another question. I give you the microphone.
What is the expected lifetime of one sweater?
Until it biodegrades, or no?
It's a very good question. So thank you for the question, first of all. The expected lifespan. So we're aiming to really, also through the digital tool, to really prolong each lifespan. But, I think we all know these items in our closet that we really, really, really love, not necessarily because they're perfect, but because we connect certain experiences with them. So to really enhance that and, just prolong the lifespans and keep on repairing them, offer services to repair, and by that, just prolong.
Yeah, the life cycle.
Yeah.
But I can also tell you that the average time, like the average of like how often people wear their things is 8. So after 8 times of using a sweatshirt, usually it is thrown away. We hope to extend that also by telling people how sweaters are made, how much energy and effort it needs. And I mean, even though if you throw our sweater away, it will come back and we can bring it back into life, we very much hope that people will wear it more often.
Thank you. Do we have time for one more question or? Okay, there is one more question. Okay, thank you.
And the question is, how long does it take for a sweater to biodegrade?
So we are yet to do the actual testing. We're going to have it in an institute to really understand every detail about it, and also now it's winter, but we do want to put it on our compost in the garden and just understand how long it actually takes, this specific sweater. But it's raw cotton, there's no toxic dyes, nothing. It's really, I mean, it's a plant that is, you know, knitted into a sweater that you can throw it on the compost.
Yeah, and it's going to be a question, like a couple of months it will take, we assume, but in the, next time when we talk or when you get in touch with us, we can tell you probably better how long exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. Then we will go on to the next startup.
Exactly. And the next startup is, we have Chan from GoodieGO on stage, and GoodieGO provides sustainable products with the new distribution channel. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. My name is John. I'm the co-founder of GoodieGO, and our goal is to accelerate sustainable food. Now, the problem we are looking at is basically the whole food industry, which in our opinion is heavily flawed. Now, on the one side, you have 1/3 of all food produced going to waste every year, and on the other side, most products you'll find in the supermarket shelves or just in traditional retail overall are just plainly unhealthy and unsustainable. Now, there is a trend where you have more and more consumers actually looking for sustainable alternatives, and there's also a trend where you have more and more startups rising up providing those sustainable alternatives. So the issue we have is actually in the market, because the whole market of FMCG products is controlled by 8 big corporations, and you've probably heard the names. It's Nestle, Mars, Coca-Cola, etc. We call those corporations the Big 8. Now, if you're a startup and you have a sustainable alternative, you're going to face a couple challenges in entering the market. So first of all, you need to get in front of customers in first place, which is going to be hard because the market is controlled by just those Big 8 corporations. And on the other hand, on the retail side, you just have a few big supermarket chains like Edeka, Rewe, who collaborate with those Big 8. Now, the second issue is that you'll need some space to introduce your product to the consumers, because most likely, as a sustainable startup, your product is going to be a bit more pricey than the cheap alternatives, so you need to convince the customers to spend a bit more extra money. And the third issue is that you need to get your hands on a lot of data, because especially in the long run, it's going to be really important for you as a startup to actually understand your customers and the customer behavior, also to compete with the Big 8 in the long run. Now, luckily, we have a solution to those challenges, which is a way into the market through our innovative vending machine. So it's basically a vending machine that comes with a 55-inch touch screen. And this means that it's not just a point of sale like any other vending machine, but it's also a point of digital advertising. So you can play promotional videos on the machine and get your customers' attention. It's also responsive, so customers can actually interact with the machine, with the screen, and get more details about your product. For example, they can see a product description or some nutritional values and so on. And third of all, you can gather as a startup a lot of valuable data about the market, about your consumers. So for example, you can do a lot of testing, like test different prices, test different product pictures, test different advertising slogans, and you will get immediate measurable feedback through the purchases on the machine. Now the best part is actually that the startups keep 100% of the revenue. Because our business model is designed in a way that we just take a fixed fee for offering this point of sale, for offering this point of digital advertising, and basically a platform for market research. And if we now think about locations where we're going to place those machines, it's going to be mostly like shopping malls, co-working spaces, airports, universities, so just places with a lot of traffic. And overall, our goal really is to create a sustainable environment. I mean, an environment for like sustainable food startups mostly. So the criteria we have for the products we put in our machines are that they have either little shelf life left, so we can save them from being thrown away, that they just have a sustainable value chain in the way they're produced in terms of ingredients and so on, and that they are just healthy for the consumer. So this is one example, Energieliebe, one startup we collaborated with a couple months ago, and where we also saved a couple hundred of their products from being thrown away. Now, the end goal really is to have an ecosystem, a platform, where you have a lot of startups, a lot of points of sale for that sense. So with every new partner, with every new location, with every new startup, the whole platform just goes stronger. And we've already talked to over 150 startups. Most of them would really like to work with us, and with around 10% of those, we've already collaborated with, actually. This is us. Finn is my co-founder. He's basically the CSO of a company. He's gathered a lot of experience in retail and talked to hundreds of startups. He's worked for Edeka Food Starter. He has his own Instagram channel, German Food Startups, where he promotes new food startups on a weekly basis. He's also a member of a crowdfoods organization that promotes sustainable startups all over Germany. And me, for myself, I've worked for several startups also. For example, for the Allianz X incubator of the Allianz Group, and have experience with building and scaling business models. Now, right now, we have 2 machines in place, one at a shopping mall, one at a co-working space. We've worked with 16 startups already. Until the end of this year, we want to initiate our financing and get ready to scale for next year. So by the end of next year, we want to have placed at least 40 machines in Germany. Just be ready to like get the whole platform thing going. Now, if you're a potential investor or a potential partner, let's say like a food startup or a location manager, for example, or you would just like to chat with us, then feel free to shoot an email at hello@goodiego.de. And yeah, thank you very much. Have fun with the next pitches, and I'm looking forward to your questions now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this great pitch. Are there some questions coming from the audience? Yes, Michael, maybe you just pronounce it, and I will repeat it then afterwards so that the people online can also hear it.
If you could choose any spot for the machine, which one would that be? What's the perfect place?
So the question is about the favorite space that you have for your machines.
Yes, so in general, the spaces we are looking for are spaces where you have a lot of traffic, so that just you have a lot of impressions, so to say, also for people walking past the machine and getting to know the products. On the other hand, we're also looking for spaces that are a bit secure because of vandalism and so on. This is why also the examples here, like shopping malls, airports, and so on, those are all spaces that are on the one side high traffic, and on the other side they're also quite secure due to like camera systems and so on. So that's like the location type. So yeah, in general, right now we want to start with going into more shopping malls and co-working spaces, as where you have those 2 criteria perfectly combined.
Very good. More questions from the audience? Yes, Valeska.
Is there any restriction, or can every product go into the machine?
So the question was about whether there's any restrictions regarding the products for the vending machine.
For the products in the machine, we have quite a few criteria. So this is just like a broad overview. One criteria would be the little shelf life thing, so that they're close to the due date, which means that we can save them, selling them in our machines, because typically if you have a product and the shelf life is less than 3 months, then you will not be able to sell it in traditional retail anymore, like in a normal supermarket, because they won't accept the products anymore, because it's risky for them to still sell them. And the other criteria are that the product needs to be sustainable. So like in terms of the whole value chain, in terms of how it's produced. For example, we have products which packaging is 100% compostable and so on. Yeah, and then also it should be healthy in terms of ingredients for the end consumer.
Okay, I just received a sign that there's a question from the audience, online audience.
What are your criteria for selection of the products for the machines?
We had that already. Is there another one?
Sorry. Okay, there was another question that's already answered by Finn.
Okay. Okay, because the other member of the team is online, he already answered some questions that were posed online, but there's another question from the...
Another one.
Yes,
Sorry.
okay.
Do you have any plans to sell them at traditional supermarkets like Rewe, Edeka, etc.?
So the question is whether you have any plans to put the vending machine at Edeka or some other retail stores?
Yes, this is definitely something we've planned for the mid or long term, definitely. So the idea would be that, for example, in an Edeka or in any other retail store, you could have this machine as like a very exclusive point of sale for sustainable food products. So this is something we're working on as well.
Okay, and then the last question, Leon, you have a question?
All the places that you've now named are more in urban areas. Have you ever considered more rural settings where you don't have that many open shops all the time and the infrastructure is not so dense?
Okay, so the question is that all the locations have been mostly in urban areas and whether they also have plans to move to rural areas where they don't have so many stores.
Also, yes, and also here it's also like more of a long-term game. Because, I mean, the big advantage obviously is that in the rural area, people have also less possibilities to actually make purchases and so on. So obviously it will be more exclusive to have a machine in that situation. However, obviously it takes a lot of more maintenance costs to really fill up the machine and so on. So it's not something we would do immediately, but let's say once we have like our machines placed in 1 or 2 big cities, we definitely also consider going into more rural areas since there's a lot of potential as well. And probably a lot of customer groups that are also into sustainable products.
Okay, last question or is it? Okay, Vlad, please, last question. Undermine the model that... Okay.
There is also the big ideas, they also go into the area.
Okay. So the question that was posed is that the big aids are also going into the same direction and whether this will undermine your business model, that they have more organic food than in future.
I mean, basically the situation in the whole food market is that it's quite a crowded space. So no matter if it's like other food startups or also the big 8, it means that it's really important, especially as a startup, to have a way to stand out. So it doesn't really change anything towards that. If at all, it will even increase kind of the value of having like this very exclusive point of sale, point of advertising and so on. So yeah, I mean, after all, it's a great thing if the big 8 go more into that direction, which they probably slowly do, even though it's usually more showing off than actually doing something. But yeah, I mean, after all, it can only be good for all sides, I think.
Perfect. Thank you very much for this great presentation, and now we move on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Yes, and we will come to the next startup. It's also a fashion startup. It's called Myriad Fashion. Welcome on stage, Mirjam.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and I'm happy to be here today. So my name is Mirjam Born and I'm founder of Myriad Fashion, a B2B service for sourcing and production of sustainable clothes. But before I start to explain, let's jump in with a very simple question. And that is, if you ever tried to buy sustainable clothes and you asked yourself why it's so difficult to find them? And the really easy answer is, yeah, because it's difficult to make them. I think you all have heard about the problems that all fashion labels struggle with. The long, complex supply chains, and I think you have heard about all these problems that all these single steps that you can see here on the slide bring with it. So even if you want to work as sustainable, as transparent, as eco-friendly as possible, it's really hard to make it happen. But what you probably didn't know before is that it's even more difficult if you are a small or medium-sized fashion label. Then you have some problems on top because you don't have this production power. And that leads to 3 major problems. The first one is obviously a smaller quantity. So it's much more difficult to find a producer who wants to take over your order. And you have a higher risk that your order will be postponed or even kicked out if there comes a more attractive order to the producer. So that leads to the second problem that is very much connected to the first one, which is a reliable lead time. So especially if you have only a few collections per year or only want to offer a few pieces, it's really important that you get your pieces in time. Otherwise, you have a really big problem if you can't sell products to your customers. And the third big problem that all responsible fashion labels struggle with is to get a producer who offers you a stable, reliable quality. But, and now we come to the solutions, there are more and more small and medium-sized fashion labels that come up all over Europe and Germany, which want to work as sustainable, as transparent as possible. And there are a lot of new approaches. There's a lot of research. There are coming up new fibers and new technologies like 3D knitting. But as you can see, all these actors work separated from each other. So the technologies are out there, but they need someone who brings them together. But gladly, I had a lot of time over the past 6 months, thanks to Better Together program, so I came up with an aggregator. And what does an aggregator mean? It means that I want to bring this, to connect all these actors with each other and give small and medium-sized fashion labels the power of a huge brand. So, how will it work? In a nutshell, small and medium-sized fashion labels submit their orders to us, we bundle them, and buy machine time and equipment in a big block. So together we have the power of a big brand. Then we take over the organization of the production process and send labels their finished clothes back, so they can concentrate on their core business. So where are we now? At the moment, we have already access to degradable, sustainable fibers. We have access to knitting machines, and we are in contact with research departments to be sure that we are on top of innovation. Next year, we plan to try out prototypes and designs, and therefore we need a pre-seed funding. We are also looking for B2B labels that want to try our designs and give us feedback on them. And we want to grow the team. So we are looking for a knitting technician and for co-workers in the field of marketing. So as you can see, a lot of things happened over the past 6 months, and I really want to thank the whole Better Together team, Sarah, Timo, Anna, Vero, my mentor Stephanie. Thank you so much for all the effort you put in. Thank you too much to the whole batch. It was great to work with you all. So.
Thank you so much, Mirjam.
Yeah, and if you want to support us or work with us, drop us a line. I appreciate your email. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mirjam. Yes, let's do it. Again, the floor is open for questions. Do you have any questions so far here, maybe in the crowd? Yes.
What kind of alternative fibers you already have on your list?
Which alternative fibers do you have on your list?
At the moment, it's hemp fiber, and we want to work with beechwood fiber as well. So mostly cellulose fiber, which can be ordered locally, which is sustainable and degradable in the end of life cycle.
Another question.
Yeah, are you doing that all by yourself, or do
Do you have support or do you do everything on your own?
At the moment, it's barely me, but I work with so many partners and have so much support. I think, yeah, and we are growing the team. So that's why I talk about us, because it's not only me.
And a third question, okay.
Would there be a minimum order size for the designers, or are you more also like medium size batches?
Is there a minimum order size for designers?
Yeah, thanks for the question. That is something we want to find out in the next year, because it depends very much on the design. And of course, if the machines are set up with the yarn, we want to be able to to use the whole yarn that is set up, and maybe it would be possible to have really small quantities, but of course we need also medium-sized.
Thank you. We have a question in the chat, okay.
How developed are 3D technologies compared to the current standard within the fashion industry?
How developed are 3D technologies in comparison to old-fashioned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a huge difference between this cut and sew approach and this knitting approach, and there are different knitting approaches as well. So with knitting you can save a lot of material, you can make it zero waste, and you can save a lot of time and money as well, and you can produce locally. And I think this is really great.
Thank you. We have one last question in the chat.
Yeah, the question is, what's your dream for 2022?
What's your dream for 2022?
2022. Okay, dream big. It would be great to have a pre-seed funding and growing the team. That would be really great, and getting in touch with a lot of labels, try out a lot of designs.
Thank you.
Das ist ganz nass.
Wow, thank you very much. And next on stage we have Funk, who tried to integrate the concept of circularity into small household devices. The stage is yours.
There we go. Hello, everyone. Hello online also. Hello to the people here. I'm Paul, and together with Ken and two other team members, we are Open Funk, and we're looking into the topic of electronics. And I want to tell you a story today. This is my beloved grandpa, and he used to tell me a story of his toaster. And his toaster used to last 40 years, he said. And this is unimaginable today. I actually had a kitchen blender which lasted 12 months. It broke after 12 months. My colleague Ken, he had a kitchen blender which broke after 6 months. And frustrated, we started disassembling a bunch of broken blenders to see what is the actual issue. Why are they breaking so fast? And what we learned is that we've set up a global linear way of dealing with products. We manufacture them in Asia, we ship them to Europe, and then a lot of it is actually shipped, waste dumped into Africa. Or in the best case, shredded down and recycled. The cause for this is products which are driven down by costs, which makes repairs really difficult, or it's actually more beneficial to just buy a new product. It's just cheaper. Second of all is lower quality of parts. And third of all is that the life cycle of the devices is just going down. This results in Europe 13 kilos of e-waste per person per year. That is absolutely massive. And this is an environmental and people hazard. So we asked ourselves, what if electronics were made to last? how would that look like? One thing which definitely makes sense is to make them modular. So if we design them from the onset that they're ready to be assembled, disassembled, easy to be repaired, upgraded, and so on, then if we reuse what we already have, like it could be motors, pieces of glass, plastics, or glass jars in our kitchens, if we do that, it means we can actually start acting at a local level. So we can have a regional supply chain, we can produce locally, and then we can repair products locally. We have the know-how locally. This means less resources consumed, less emissions, and more people and local jobs created. So this is what we've done, and this is our first product. This is Remix, which is largely built on these principles. It's modular, it's using these kitchen glass jars, standard glass jars, which you already have in your kitchen, and it's made in Berlin and using a regional supply chain. The way it works is that you hold down the glass, put the food inside, put the blades from the top, and you turn it up on its head and start blending. And what we try to do with it is to really have like a powerful device which can do everything what maybe 4 other devices can do. So it can blend everything from smoothies to like baby brai, or making like mandelmousse, or making cocktails, or vegan milk, or you name it, everything you can imagine in the kitchen. We've also made it customizable so that it feels nice and people actually love it in their own kitchens. You can choose the recycled plastic cover and back, as you can see here on the side. And we've expanded beyond the product into services because it's not enough to just give a product to people. So a QR code on a device tells you how to repair the device with video instructions. It also tells you the story of where the materials are coming from. And if it comes back to us, we can actually know exactly what went into the product, or if it goes to a recycler. We have a buyback program through which we buy the products from you when you don't need it anymore. We refurbish the parts, and then we sell them back, giving them a new life to another customer. And lastly, but not least, we are open sourcing our parts so that they will be available online forever, so that long-term part availability and repair will not actually be an issue. We've also expanded beyond our current device with the same idea of the modular system. So using the same principles, we can have a heater for multiple containers. We could have a lamp. We could have a speaker. It can be anything, what you can imagine. Different products based on the same language. And we also wanted to show you some of our moments which made the journey here at Better Together special. So these are some of the stories which we shared on OpenFunk on Instagram. We started with our batch with a lot of online calls due to Corona. We visited production partners and e-waste facilities. We've been prototyping. Here have a CNC machine cutting, and we've been 3D printing to build our own prototypes. This was one of the first ones, which you can see here. This was our first electrical prototype where we just hacked on an existing device to test how our glass jar concept actually works, and it worked. We attended fairs and events. This one was here at the Impact Hub to grow our network, and we now have more than 200 people who actually subscribed to put their hands on the device when it comes out on the market. And we've grew our team in engineering and communications. We're planning for a crowdfunding campaign beginning of next year. So head over to OpenFunk and get the device. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I see already we have some questions here. Okay, Vlad, go ahead.
Do you plan to give a warranty for a product? And if yes, for how long it would last?
So the question is about warranty, whether you give a warranty, and if yes, for how long?
Thank you for the question. We are obliged by EU law luckily. There is a minimum warranty which you need to provide of 2 years. We're still in the process of figuring out how much we want to extend that, whether it makes sense to have the warranty extended or to have services extended, such as the ones which I mentioned.
Great question. Another question from the audience? Otherwise, I would have a question because you address a very important issue. So what is actually keeping you? What is the biggest barrier in order to scale big time next year? There's none. That's good.
Yeah, I think it's rather ourselves, if so. If I don't think that's a barrier, though. I think we have a good setup. We're well on track to do the things which we propose to do.
Perfect. I like the answer. Are there more questions coming from the online audience?
Similar to these questions, what are your big next milestones?
So it's a similar question, the next milestones that you have, the big next milestones.
Yeah. Well, on the one hand, on the product side, we're currently assembling devices with all the parts sourced from the right partners and so on. So that is the product side, just to make sure that everything works. But we're on the good track there. And otherwise, the crowdfunding campaign, which is probably going to happen in February, where you're invited to join. And that would be it, actually. We take it from there.
Perfect. More questions? Otherwise, I have another question because you already gave us a sneak preview. So which product can we look out for?
We don't have, I can go back to that slide. Maybe it takes long. Here we go. So these are a couple of product ideas. We haven't decided on one yet. Actually, we look at the blender as a proof of concept to show that we can produce sustainably and locally. And once we do that, we can think of next products.
Okay. And one more question from the online audience.
Will the price of these products be similar to the current blenders available in the market?
So the question is about the pricing, whether it will be similar to products that are already out there.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So blenders come in prices from 40 to 800, 900 euros. So we're going to be somewhere in the mid-range price, so somewhere between 150 to 150 in that range.
Perfect. Then thank you very much for your great presentation and your great product. And we will have now a short break and see each other at 11:10. Thank you. Welcome on stage, Camp.
Wow, yeah, welcome back after the break. I hope everybody is refreshed like we are now. The clicker is still in the break, I guess. Oh, here we go. Now it woke up. Perfect. Yeah, coffee refresher. So, we are NumCamp, and my name is Aziza.
And I am Valeska.
And our mission is to reduce CO2. And how do we do it? By enabling manufacturing companies through technologies. Manufacturing companies, I have to change the slides. Manufacturing companies are at the moment highly under pressure because each good what you produce consumes energy and emits CO2. Emitting CO2 used to be free, but it's not anymore. Also, regulations are changing. So even Germany has since this year the carbon tax. So manufacturing companies are extremely under pressure to stay well in business.
to support companies staying well in business, we built a cloud-based intelligent software that makes energy and therefore CO2 saving simple for manufacturing companies. With our software, we show companies where their highest energy consumers in the company are, and therefore we help them identifying their savings potentials. How do we do that? So first of all, with our software, companies can centralize all their energy consumption data from the whole company within one single tool. Moreover, companies, or our software, it calculates, it helps them with mathematical calculations. So time-intensive statistics energy professionals need to do when looking after energy management. And the tool does all the data analysis and visualizations for them. So with the software, we support them, we help them identifying where they can save up energy and how they can do it continuously with an easy-to-use software. Moreover, with our software, companies can be flexible because it's cloud-based, so it's no on-premise solution. They can access it from everywhere. They can use it across all devices from every location they are in. But what is most important about our software is that it enables collaboration. What we have learned so far is that in companies, usually 1 or 2 people, experts, are looking after energy management. And now think of a software that is so easy to use that everyone in the company could be involved. So participate, collaborate to make energy saving and CO2 saving a common purpose within the whole company and not just the goal of this single 1 or 2 people. How do we know all that this matters to our customers? Because we've been talking to more than 50 prospects and industry experts so far. We're constantly exchanging with the market to identify what are their needs and develop and design the software accordingly. Because we believe that only with real needs we can create real value for our customers, partners, and also our business. When we talk about our business model, we want to focus on 2 main aspects. One is product-led growth, and the other one is subscription. We design our software the way that it enables product-led growth. So think of self-onboarding, for example, or think of up and downgrading your package and also pay it directly in the software, or think of referring other customers. User acquisition, user conversion, and retention, all that will be mainly driven by our software. We generate revenues through subscription fees. So we are offering different packages our customers can book and upgrade on, and the fees can be paid on a monthly or a yearly basis.
We are a female tech startup, and we're passionate about numbers and collaboration. And this is also where our name stands for, NumCamp. Num for numbers and Camp for collaboration and team. And we bring complementary backgrounds, and we're really proud to be part of the second batch of the Better Together program, that we met all these fantastic startups, which inspires us, and most of all the program, which really pushed us to the next level. And talking about pushing us to the next level, where we are today. Our company is already legally founded. And, as Valeska mentioned, we develop our product really close to the market. So we have our first customer, Stadtwerke Norderstedt, who already subscribed. And at the moment, we have 3 hot leads. Our MVP is live and on the market. If you are an investor, then contact us, and we are really excited now about your questions.
Thank you very much for this great presentation. Are there any questions from the audience? Yes, Phoebe.
Decarbonization is a really important part, but circularity is a really important part of decarbonization. And do you include that in your communication when you're marketing a product and talking to potential clients?
So the question was that decarbonization is a very big issue nowadays, and whether you include it into your marketing strategy.
Yeah, really good point, Phoebe. Yeah, indeed, definitely. So when we started with an idea, I think it got already a bit of traction. But now what I mentioned with this change of regulation, with the carbon tax, and now also energy prices are rising, we see that it's amazing and it's really strong as well for our customers to see that they can have a solution, what helps them to be profitable and as well have a big impact.
More question? Yeah, Leon.
Hey guys, thanks for the great presentation. I was just wondering how much funding you're looking for and what exactly do you need that for in the next case?
So the question is about the funding. How much are you looking for, and what would you spend it on?
So at the moment, we're still discussing actually on a finance model. We see different options about funding. So we started to talk to angel investors, and we see that either we start with a smaller amount, depending on the options, or a really bigger one. Because we know definitely that with a bigger amount, we can plan for much longer, 2 or 3 years, and with a smaller amount, we still see that there's a lot of potential that we continue to develop the product, which goes to your question. So product development and for sure getting our customers on board.
More question? Leon, you had another question? No. Okay. Paul?
Who are your main competitors and how do you differentiate them?
So the question is about your main competitors and how you differentiate yourself.
So we have competitors which focusing a lot on the CO2 topic and some which focus a lot on the energy management topic. So we have one which come more from a traditional industry side, and now with reducing CO2, there are also some which just started actually. And we have different angles where we have a big USP. So one, for example, which is really strong is that instead of the usually setting up a software at a customer place for takes an average of 2 weeks, in our case it's just 5 minutes, yeah, to just get someone started.
Perfect. More questions? Questions from the online audience?
Yes, one question is how you collect the data from the carbon emitting sources, from API or?
So the question is about the data collection. So how do you actually collect the data?
Yeah, also fantastic question. So you also heard about the benefits, what we have, like flexible, cloud-based, and as well that companies get more profitable. And when you want to know which features are behind that and as well about the technology themselves, then contact us. We also are always happy that you sign up and we can have a demo day together.
There's one more question from the online audience.
Yes, what kind of equipment will be required for your product to work?
So the question is about the equipment. What is required in order for your software to work?
So I think this question goes in the same direction of the concrete technology and features behind the benefits, what we already shared. And I think, as we all know, the industry, the manufacturing companies are there are a lot of different software out there, hardware out there. And therefore, what I mentioned, the best is contact us, we schedule demo day, and we go deep into the technology.
Thank you very much for the great presentation once again. Camp. Okay. And next on stage, we have Kirsten from Moving Light Systems. And Kirsten will present you the coolest shading system on this planet. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Timo. Thank you, Timo. Yes, I'm Kirsten. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'm Kirsten. I'm the founder of Moving Light System, and I believe that design can really help us on our way to net zero architecture. And I'm going to show you in my pitch today how. So the world is becoming more and more urban. We're continuously building new and larger cities on this planet. And this is a big problem because already now 40% of all global CO2 emissions actually come from buildings. So we need to change something here drastically. And how do we do this? Let's dive a little bit deeper into this issue. Building facades play a quite crucial role here. They're responsible for a lot of the heat exchange that happens between the interior of the building and the exterior of the building. And back in the day, we used to build facades like this building on the left here. Lots of stone, small openings for windows. Nowadays, now that we have air conditioning systems, we can build buildings like the buildings on the right, almost clad entirely in glass. And this is again a problem because these buildings tend to overheat in the summer and they undercool in the winter. And we need to then balance out these temperatures with artificial heating and cooling. And this takes a lot of energy, and this energy is generated mainly still by burning fossil fuels. And this is why the carbon footprint of buildings such as this is really high. So, automated shading systems are actually a very effective way to change this. They regulate temperatures directly on the facade already. But let's be honest, they're really not popular. They actually block views, there's no control. Frankly, they're completely underwhelming. There is so much more potential, there's so much more you can actually do with something like this. So that's what we did with Moving Light System. We created a programmable, fully programmable surface. So this surface can react to light and weather. So on a cloudy day, it can open up to leave in as much light as possible. When it's sunny, like today, it closes, but it moves with the sun. So because sunlight is dynamic, right? As the sun circulates around the building during the course of the day, Moving Light System is able to move with it. It always closes towards the direction of the strongest sunlight, and it provides view in the meantime. It's also possible to program Moving Light System so that it generates patterns like these, where you can filter the daylight to come inside, but you can still maintain a view from the inside out. But the most exciting part is that we're able to integrate photovoltaics on this, because a surface that is exposed to a lot of sunlight is perfect for harvesting of solar energy. So we're really excited about that. We already built successfully 4 functioning prototypes. They are all done in different kinds of materials. Lots of them are most of them are wood-based. And they come in different colors, they can perform different actions and movements, but they're all based on the same modular system and on the same software. So since the beginning of the fantastic Better Together program, a lot has happened. I'm only going to highlight 2 things that I'm really excited about. We actually got awarded a prize from Holzbau Atlas Berlin-Brandenburg for the innovative use of wood as a sustainable, renewable construction material. And we were able to build a new prototype for Dutch Design Week this year, where we applied circular design principles. So we disassembled the old prototype, reassembled it into a new one, reprogrammed it to do a different kind of movement. So we had a complete new product out of an old one. And this is something that I really learned a lot about in the Better Together program. So us, that is my sister Maren, who recently joined me. She is a fantastic project manager with a lot of experience in the field of architecture, interior and branding. And me, I'm responsible for creative direction. I also have quite a bit of experience in building innovative large-scale installations in Europe and the quite demanding markets of New York City and Dubai. We're not doing this by ourselves. We're actually continuously building a network of industry experts. So if this is something that you find interesting, please reach out. a little bit to the feedback that we're getting is written on this slide. I will only read one sentence, and that is that it's a great idea to improve the sustainability of buildings with a design feature that people enjoy looking at. And if you think so too, we're starting a series of pop-up installations that are temporary, and if you think this could be a really cool feature in your building, please reach out, and then we will be happy to show you more and talk more about the project. Now I want to thank the fantastic Better Together team for all the great 5 months so far, and my mentors, all the coaches that have come in to the program and taught us a lot, and also the other teams that were also really great, and I learned so much from all of you guys. So yeah, do you have questions?
Such a great presentation, and I love the product. It's very nice. We have a question from the audience. Phoebe? Phoebe, go ahead.
I just wondered, are you kind of considering how you might engage the users of the buildings that you're putting your designs on?
So the
Employees or the users, that they're informed about what you're doing and why it's important?
So the question is about the user engagement, how you plan to interact with your product and the user.
That's such a nice question. Thank you. Yeah, because developing this product, that was one of the parts that I found really important too, because people are annoyed by automated shading systems, right? And I think in the movements that this system can perform, a lot of the feedback that I've gotten so far at the exhibits were that it's like a meditative movement, and also something like I wouldn't get any work done, but that's probably not really good to say in this. But like I think that's a really important part. And what the goal is with the pop-up installations is also to get more feedback from the users to actually include that in the product development.
More questions? Leon?
When I look at it, I think the first thing that comes to mind is I wonder, like, first of all, like, how fragile is it? So how is the durability? Have you been able to test that? And obviously, how would it, like, do you have any idea how it would translate to price?
Okay, there are 2 questions actually coming from Leon. The first one, actually that was also a compliment that the product is very nice. And then there was one question that it looks a little bit fragile, so whether you have considered that and how you would tackle it. And the second was about the pricing, whether you already have a pricing strategy.
Okay, first of all, yeah, thank you for the question. The fragility of it, that really, I've definitely looked into that, and I've spoken to experts about this. This is something that really kind of depends on the type of building and the location of the building, because with buildings you usually do like wind testing or like, so these kind of things have to be done with any kind of products that goes on a facade anyways. But so that's a big consideration. But it's also with this modularity of the system, it's possible to adjust the modules accordingly. So in certain conditions, there can be bigger modules that are going to be less fragile to the wind, or they can be less flexible, for example. So that would be a way to work around that, for sure. And was there...
The second question was about the pricing, whether you already came up with a pricing strategy.
The price is going to... That I can't answer yet, but I'm hoping to give more answers to that after the first pop-up installations. One thing we're working on that I think will also help with that is that we're doing a digital twin. So it's basically like a digital model of the physical product. And that's a great way to, first of all, test solar radiation and stuff, but it's also great for knowing exactly how the system has to function and what needs to go in it, also for price.
Okay, I have also one question. Since you went out and asked for locations to approach you, what would your favorite location look like?
Also a nice question. My favorite location would be like a corporate or a hotel lobby, but ideally something that's semi-public to public, where people actually can, a wide range of people can actually enjoy it. But that would be, yeah, and something with obviously like a big glass facade and a place like that.
So not sure whether we have so many hotel owners on our chat right now, but maybe some people with glass facade. More questions from people here? Yes, Kate?
So how much time did it take you to develop the first prototype?
Very nice question. So it was about the timing. How much did it actually took you to design the whole prototype altogether?
Yeah, I would say I actually developed this prototype in my in the master program of the Weißensee Kunsthochschule in Berlin here, and it took me, I think, about a year in total to do the first prototype, and now it's of course going a lot quicker. But like
Okay, and we have one last question from the online audience.
You were saying that you use solar systems. What kind of systems do you use?
No problem. The question is about the solar system that you use for the shading system. So what kind of solar systems are you using?
Yeah, in terms of the technology, also a super cool question. The technology that we're using is OPV, so it's organic photovoltaic, organic polymer cells. And what's really cool about those is that they can be printed, they look very different from the traditional first generation solar cells that are on the roof. They're thin film, they can be done in a roll-to-roll process. So they're basically like foil that is printed with solar cells on. And they are also, they come in colors and they are like semi-transparent, which makes them really cool to work with as a designer. And they are also, it's a great, much more flexible product to work with in this kind of settings. So that's been really inspiring to work with.
Nice. And Sarah just gave me a sign. There's one more question from the online audience.
Yeah, the question would be, will there be a service program in addition to the product?
Okay, so the question is there a service program additionally to the hardware product?
Yes, definitely. I think that's really important with this kind of installations, especially because with any solar technology, there's things that need to be exchanged once in a while. They need to be updated, so that's definitely part of the product.
Thank you very much for this great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. And then next on stage, we have Colo Track, who want to revolutionize the whole trading of organic food. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Dima. Yeah, hi everyone. For the last 7 years, I've been working in organic agriculture market, and mainly in trading. And once my company was importing 5,000 tons of grains in port of Brake, around 70 kilometers from Bremen on the north, with this specific vessel. It's called Clara. For those who have never seen 5,000 tons of grains, it's around 1,000 elephants. So quite a quantity, right? And everything was running good with this delivery until it was blocked by importing authorities during the import. And the reason to block this product was that one person just forget that there was a change in one document and forget to inform all other parties. Only this one simple and, to be honest, stupid mistake cost our company 70,000 euro. And it could cost our company up to €500,000 if we wouldn't handle it in a nice way. And like it was a moment, wow, probably there is a business opportunity and I could do something about that. And since then, I've started to investigate the problem, why it happens. And just to show you visually why it happens, that's how looks the normal market of conventional goods. Almost nobody cares where product comes from, and you need to have a little data to make it running. But in an organic market, you need to keep control of way more data, starting from farmers to control the full traceability, points of sampling, released by control bodies, etc. And it's quite complicated. And because it's so complicated, authorities usually see these pictures like this. So just a lot of fraud happening everywhere. And they just want to be on the safe side in any decision making. And is it confusing? Yeah, it is. And that's why it makes this market so more complicated comparing to a normal market. But just to simplify things, like how market operates, on the one side, we have smaller producers and traders, usually from third countries, who just want to sell their goods efficiently. And on another side, we have bigger corporations like Top 8 mentioned earlier today, who deliver food to us. And what stops them from efficiently cooperating are bad, written, loosely procedures in organic, bad collected and controlled data, and it creates a lot of opportunity for bad people, for fraud being between them. Fraud that costs European economy 10 billion euro every year that we are paying from our pocket just supporting fraud producers of organic products. And yeah, that's basically the reason why we built ColorTrack. It's a cloud-based solution that facilitates organic stakeholders to exchange data about product and control that product is actually organic. All of that in order to increase efficiency of market and to reduce chance of fraud. And we do it in 3, not super, but still simple steps. So the first one, we go to users, to organic producers, and for them we digitize organic procedures, so everything happens seamless and partially automated. While we do it, we collect data where it originates, and we cross-validate this data between different stakeholders on the market. And on the last step, we have this bunch of data, and we just apply machine learning tools to find non-consistencies and potential fraud. It works for 3 major stakeholder groups, these producers and traders, certification bodies, because it's one of the most important groups in defining organic product, and international corporations. And just making things a little bit more practically, how it works in real life. So we do a first solution for these smaller producers, and it's basically a product management system, kind of simplified ERP, where they can control their stocks and their deliveries. While they do it basic job, we add on top automated compliance control. So for example, when trader buys something from farmer, we say, hey, man, you need to check certificate organic from your supplier, and if we can, we do it for you. While we do it, collecting data and helping to follow compliance procedures, we share this data with certification bodies, so our users can reduce cost of their certification and make it simpler for them. And then having data about the product from producers and data from control bodies about how organic it is, we combine it together to assist corporations in their sourcing procedure. And I hope you still remember this vessel. So in this case, it would be that our system detects a change in document, inform all other parties, get confirmation from control bodies that it actually happened, and save us 70,000 euro. Our business model based on charging parties that we get the most value, smaller producers and corporations. And yeah, it's not only about business. We increase efficiency of the organic market, and because current agriculture is killing our soil, we help to be more farmers that protect biodiversity and assist soil in regeneration to be on the market. We recently launched our MVP, and now we're aiming to scale this MVP, launch main functionalities, enter new markets, and launch pilot with corporates. For that, we're looking more people in our team and €500,000 euros in initial investments. We're a team that combines market expertise, entrepreneurial spirit, and full-stack development skills. And if you know any corporations that struggle with their supply chains, or you're looking for solid investment opportunities, we're here for you. Just reach us out. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. So we also have the chance now for some questions from the audience. Phoebe. Who are your competitors?
So basically, we compete in 3 dimensions. One is traceability, and there are emerging amount of new solutions, but usually they provide only a marketing tool to show, okay, we're traceable. We differentiate for them by bringing also credible information about where product actually originates. Another one is data management for farmers, but those solutions mainly use organic and sustainability just buzzwords. We implement it deeply in procedures. And the last one, in compliance, there are a few solutions, but these compliance solutions, they just checklist, and like I cannot imagine any farmer who runs around with checklists and controlling everything. We do that automated for them.
Perfect. More questions? Valeska. So the question is regarding your customers, whether you have them and whether they are paying for your product yet.
Yeah. So as you might imagine, it's quite a complicated solution in the end. But for MVP, we just got one procedure, exporting organic goods from third countries to EU and US, and we digitize it. And with this MVP, we got a first partnership with the biggest control body in Ukraine, one of the biggest exporters to European Union, and with a few their clients. So currently, we're running this MVP, collecting feedback, and scaling it.
Perfect. More questions? Leon?
What do you anticipate being the biggest tech risk in developing software? Because you're working with a lot of stakeholders that might not be used to, having that contained in bracket. Where do you see the biggest risks in building the product in the next years?
So where do you see the biggest risk in building the software, like tech risk?
Yeah. So in terms of technology, everything is already invented and people using it in finance or social media a lot. Just a lot of data being controlled, analyzed, and provided to somebody else. One of the biggest risks we see is basically more on the side of UX, because farmers in Africa and Asia, they didn't use to these technologies. But still, they have to follow already organic compliance procedures. So we just try to make it as natural as possible so they do just the same work, they see the same questions, the same picture, but it's online.
And Mark, I think you also had a question.
Well, it's clearly a great solution. How do you tackle the challenge to reach out to the large variety of farmers and producers? How do you access them?
So the question is, how do you reach out to the farmers?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one of the most essential challenges we have. So basically, in our go-to-market strategy, if you recall, we have these 3 types of stakeholders, right? But only 2 of them are our clients whom we plan to charge. And the one in the middle, control bodies, we plan to do it for free for them, but use their network and their already established channels of communication to your clients to reach them, send to control body. Okay, you get it for free, but just you need to attract your clients so you get efficiency more also for your site.
I also have one question. You said you want to go into 5 more markets. So which are these 5 more markets?
Yeah, so we started with Ukraine as one of the biggest suppliers, and because it's also my major experience before, and we plan to scale it to 2 nearest countries, Belarus and Kazakhstan, because they're very similar in types of products they export in, and also control bodies covering these markets. Another one would be Turkey. It's a country that recently also joined a list of high-risk countries, so they struggle with this new control and regulation, and we help them simplify. And one of the most targeted markets will be either China or India. We still define, because it's also 2 bigger suppliers with a lot of small farmers and markets with quite a low credibility.
Okay, more questions? Then there was one more question.
Could you tell us more about the positive impacts your software has on the farmers, organic farmers?
So whether you can elaborate on the impact that your software has on the farmers.
Yeah, so if we say about economical impact, yeah, then for farmers it's just online assistant who simplifies their procedure of compliance, so they don't need to read all these regulations that they never read before. Yeah, but if we talk about environmental impact, so market usually acts that we have farmers who produce food from soils, and we have final consumers. Between them, we have some distribution of margins. And right now, we have one problem. This margin is not distributed efficiently due to higher costs that it could be, and also due to frauds that get margin from the market, but do not produce organically. We try to eliminate this fraud and make margin distribution more efficient, so more farmers can come to organic market and produce foods that do not kill our environment.
Okay, then thank you very much, Vlad, for this
thank you.
presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Vlad. And we will come to the next startup, because when we talk about circular fashion, a huge thing is the fashion industry, of course. So we have a third startup that works on fashion. It's Lotta Ludvigsson, and she is doing a suit that is completely circular for women, from women, and you will hear more about from Charlotte. Welcome.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Charlotte, and I would love to present you my circular fashion brand, Lotta Ludvigsson. This is the Atacama Desert in Chile, where 39,000 tons of textile waste have been dumped 2 weeks ago. And these pictures also show where eventually all our clothes end up once we don't want them anymore, once we give them away. But there is no away. In fact, we are in the midst of a waste crisis. On average, every person throws away 39 kilos of textiles every single year. And this equals 1 truckload of textiles every second. So what's the reason behind? Of course, it's overproduction, it's overconsumption, but it's also a design failure. Due to the fact that almost all our clothes are mixed fibers. So once you mix synthetic fibers, such as polyester, together with natural fibers, such as cotton or wool, they cannot be recycled anymore, nor can they biodegrade. So from the very beginning of the design stage, they are meant to go to waste, no matter the brand, no matter the quality. But it doesn't have to be like this. And actually, this is also an example of a linear economy. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like this. And this is why I started Lotta Ludvigsson, and I want to offer products that actually never turn into waste. So we offer fair, circular, and regenerative business casual attire, as you can see on the picture, that really needs the aesthetic needs, that meets the aesthetic needs of modern women. So all our products, and we started off with a suit that you can see on the right side, or that you can see me wearing the blazer, are based on a number of innovations. So we only apply circular and cradle-to-cradle design strategies. We don't have any seasons, we have a timeless design, and we design for emotional attachment. And in terms of the materials, we only use natural, organic, certified, chemical-free materials that are in line with animal welfare, humans, and nature. And we produce locally, together with our female-run manufacturing partner close by in Poland in a sustainable way. And not only all our products are circular, but also the entire underlying business model itself, which I will show you now. So you see, we only take the natural resources, put them into production, and make really high quality, long-lasting, and timeless products out of it that you can actually keep for a lifetime. However, if you don't like them anymore, or you don't fit in anymore at one point, you can always return them at Lotta Ludvigsson, and we will give it a new life with a new customer over and over again via our re-commerce shop. And only until the last customer returns it, and only if it cannot be repaired anymore, only then we can put it on a home compost. And there it will biologically degrade, it will become a biological nutrition that will help the soil to grow plants again. So the impact that we want to create is really to make sustainable fashion the new norm. And we prolong the use phase of each single garment. And of course, we want to empower women. We want to empower those women that actually making the garments by really providing them a fair and safe working environment. And we want to empower those women actually wearing our products, because finally they are able to wear their values. And through our holistic circularity approach, there won't be any waste. And of course, we also want to educate other brands. We want to educate customers through our radical price transparency. So what have we been doing the last 5 months of the program? We were deep diving into product development and came up with our second product, a circular coat. And of course, we also have been asking our future customers why they want to become a Lotta Ludwigsson customer. And most people said they really love the combination of the aesthetics and the sustainability because they don't want to make any more compromises. And they want to have classy garments that look good, feel good, and do good. This is why we position ourselves in the rather sustainable premium and luxury sector, because as you can see, there are almost no alternatives. And we all know without sustainable alternatives, we cannot create change. So we also were able to build up a team, and we have now 6 amazing women in the team with different backgrounds from sustainable supply chains, circular economy, product development, design, and venture building. And we were also able to build up and strengthen our partnerships. At this point, a big shout out to Good Garment Collective. And we will also already be able to create awareness and promote change through the various events and panel debates that we were already being invited to. So what are our next steps? We want to develop a third product, and we want to build up our e-commerce shop, as well as implementing our go-to-market strategy and the launch. So if you want to stay ahead of all the things, then go to our website, sign up, and join the waiting list for our launch in July. And of course, also follow us on Instagram. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much, Charlotte. Thank you so much for your pitch. Yes, I see a lot of questions. Yes. Where is the name from?
Okay, good question. Yeah, wow, okay, the name is actually, so on the one hand, I used to live in Italy, where I learned everything about the aesthetics, the fashion, the textiles, the quality, and my name in Italian is Carlotta, so there is the Lotta from, which represents basically the fashion part. And then I also used to live in Denmark, so in Scandinavia, which is the Ludwigsson part, where I actually learned everything about sustainability and circular economy and really deep dived into it. So this is the combination, because it's actually what it's all about, to bring together sustainability and aesthetics. And then you might ask, who is Ludwig then? Basically, this is my 106-year-old grandpa who always believed that we can change the world for the better. So it's basically an homage to him.
Thank you. Any other questions? Phoebe, yeah, no? Okay.
I mean, of course, polyester, for example, is a quite durable material, for sure, but that's also the problem, because it will never biodegrade. And yeah, the thing is that we cannot recycle, like right now, we don't recycle all the clothes that we have, because they're always mixed fibers, as I said in the beginning. And of course, the problem is also once you wash them, and for example, it's just a polyester dress, you shed so many microfibers that eventually end up in our water and then in the end in our food. I think every week, one person eats one credit card of microfibers, like plastic. And we don't know yet what the long-term effects are on our health. So I think, of course, it's more durable maybe with some things, but it's actually very bad for the environment. And I think, yeah, it's a design failure at its best, actually.
Thank you. There is a second question.
Yes, do you already want to reveal what third product you're planning?
Are you planning a third product?
Yes, I'm planning a third product, and I think the question was also what kind of product it will be. That is a good question. We actually are building up a focus group to really talk to our future customers. And and basically co-create it with them, because that's the easiest way to really meet the needs of modern women. But of course, if you feel you could be a customer, you can also write in the chat what kind of product you would like to have.
Thank you so much. Do we have more questions in the chat?
Yes, the question is very similar. So why did a lot of companies start with suits? And with this, someone else asks exactly why only suits. And next question is why only suits which is worn rarely? Why not start with the products which are worn regularly, like denims and t-shirts?
Why did you start with suits? And wouldn't it be easier to start with everyday products like denim or other stuff?
Yes, so easier for sure. We actually started with a suit because it's one of the hardest garments to make. It's really the most complex thing. It's called the king's discipline, actually, if you can make a good suit. So we wanted just to prove if it's even possible to make it. And the answer is yes. So we wanted to start with that, and if that is possible and we can make a suit compostable and still aesthetic and durable and high quality, then we can basically make any kind of product. And to the second question, with the other parts, I think, as I showed you in the on the competitor slide, even though there's no competition, as we're all having an overarching goal, there are already like a lot of sustainable brands, more like in the mass market, let's say for socks or t-shirts, but there's almost nothing for the more high-end, elegant business area. That's why.
Thank you.
Thank
Do
you.
we have one more question? Or
Could you tell us a bit more about the fabrics you're using?
Mm-hmm. Could you tell us a little bit more about the fabrics you're using?
Yes. With the fabrics, actually, it's no rocket science. It's not a new innovative material. It's basically rather going back to the roots. So how did actually our grandparents make clothes that are still durable? I still have a jacket from my grandpa that is 80 years old and is perfectly intact. And it's just because they use materials that are durable and high quality. So in my case, I'm using wool, and wool is actually not only extremely durable, but it's also, you don't need to wash it or clean it often. It's fine if you just hang it outside with a little bit of fresh air. It keeps you warm in the winter, but it's breathable in the summertime. And it's actually a natural material.
Cool. Thank you very much. Danny?
Thank you.
And last but not least, of course, we have the startup Wild. Wild, Ines and Melly are doing period products out of algae, and how this works, they will tell you now. Thank you very much. Welcome on stage.
Hi, my name is Melanie, this is Ines, and we are Wild. We are developing radically sustainable, ocean-friendly and healthy period products from seaweed. Although menstruation is part of everyday life for more than half of the world's population, the topic is largely neglected or even stigmatized. Currently, there's hardly any way to menstruate healthily and sustainably.
Even though there are a number of products that advertise sustainability, if you take a closer look at their production, they cannot keep their green promises, let alone a circular approach. We want to change that. 40% of all German menstruators can imagine switching for sustainability reasons. That means almost 7 million potential Wild customers in Germany alone, and an immense potential in the $16.5 billion global period products market. With the growing environmental awareness, the demand for non-harming period products is on the rise. Conventional period products are made of either viscose or cotton, with their respective negative environmental and health impacts, and lots of plastics. Seeing periods for what they are, a completely natural process, we want to reconnect them with nature by using one of its greatest gifts, seaweed. This enables us to provide the menstruators with a unique solution that combines product performance with sustainability. Even though Nori, Wakame and Co. have their permanent place on menus around the world, and almost 70% of all processed foods contain algae extracts, it may come as a surprise which benefits algae can also have in the non-food sector. After all, they are the original carbon capture technology. Algae are one of the most sustainable ways ever to produce biomass. They are zero input crops, require no fertilizers, no pesticides, no fresh water, and not even land, and also grow up to 10 times faster than land plants. Some species even grow up to 50 centimeters per day. That makes them the ultimate renewable resource. Our algae-based fibers are extremely absorbent due to their marine lifestyle and have been used in medical applications for decades. They are chosen for their beneficial properties, such as being anti-inflammatory and having a very low potential of causing allergies or rashes. Here you can see some examples from the medical field.
We want to leverage these positive properties for period products where they're really needed. With our Calpong, we invent tampons and offer a non-harming solution for everyone, the menstruators, the oceans, and the environment. And tampons are only the beginning. We will later diversify into all other intimate and personal care product categories and potentially even further. We are aiming at a true bottom line. Wild is a self-owned, profit-for-purpose enterprise in a steward ownership model that will not only actively contribute to ocean restoration and CO2 reduction and accelerate a sustainable marine permaculture, but especially will empower female farmers to build a livelihood through algae cultivation. Parts of our D2C and retail sales revenues will directly enable these projects. By building a regenerative algaeverse, we are contributing to at least 12 of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
With our background as film producers, we are professionals in bringing together diverse stakeholders in complex contexts. We combine degrees in gender studies, neuroscience, marine guiding, business administration, as well as work experience in the biotech and the NGO sector. We are a well-coordinated team that is passionate about the topic because one thing is clear, we ourselves really want to use these products. Collaboration is essential to our approach. Therefore, we are working with partners all along the value chain. We could just close our pre-seed round to develop our commercial prototype and want to leverage the power of crowdfunding later to produce the first batches of our product. After the initial R&D phase, we can become profitable within 2 years, while rewilding hundreds of ocean habitats.
Our vision of a fair, sustainable and circular production of necessary goods in a rewilded world is already supported by a group of wonderful institutions like Purpose Ventures, Zebras Unite, the Femtech Accelerator Tech Forever, the Blue Bioeconomy Accelerator, Submariner Network, the Social Impact Lab, as well as, of course, the Impact Hub. We already secured funding from the EU and the Berlin Senate, as well as federal grants. If you want to join the seaweed revolution and take this endeavor of mainstreaming algae as a natural climate crisis solution further, please drop us a line. We are looking for mission-aligned investors as well as extraordinary talents in the field of textile engineering, product and business development, and social media. We would be happy if you supported us in making the world a little bit wilder again. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks. Great pitch. Thank you very much. We have time for questions now. So if anyone has questions here, Valeska. When and where can we buy your products?
Hopefully very soon. If everything goes according to our plan, then you will be able to buy them next year and you can be one of the early supporters in the crowdfunding campaign. So just sign up on our website and you will be informed when we start it. And after the crowdfunding, we will sell them D2C in our own online shop as well as in retail.
Great, thank you. Do we have more questions? Leon.
What's the biggest challenge coming up next year?
What is your biggest challenge coming up next year?
Yeah, that's also a good question because our project is really R&D heavy. So it's a real technological innovation, and that is also the biggest challenge, but also the biggest potential in the project because in the period product fields there are basically no innovations for the last 100 years. We need to tackle this, that we are able to process our fibers on the normal industry machinery. And that is what we're doing now, what we're working on now, and can hopefully solve in the coming month.
Thank you. We had one more question. Vlad, yeah.
So I know that algae farming is emerging market and many companies go in there, but I don't know if it's already a common spread technology that provides enough sourcing. So I have basically two questions. Where do you source algae now? And are you sure that its production will support your long-term growing goals?
Where do you source your algae now? Would be the first question. And the second question, sorry?
If the market development of algae production support your global terms?
And if the market develops in...
I get the question. I will just try to repeat it. Yeah, thanks, Vlad. That's a very, very good question, because we are in a really interesting time right now, because we have this chance of building up this marine permaculture in a better way than we did it with the land-based agriculture. And we're actually part of a global movement of people and companies working on that, on really, truly building it from scratch in a good way. And at the moment, as you mentioned, of course, there is a lot of algae farming. It's basically in Asia. It's 97% of everything. But the projections for Europe are an increase from today, 300,000 tons, to a yearly output of 8 million tons in 2030. So I think the moment is exactly now, and it will be really, we will be able to source from Europe, ideally, for all of our products.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vlad, for the question. Do we have more questions here, or even in the chat?
One question here. It's very simple. How did you come up with your idea? What was your inspiration behind it?
How did you come up with this idea?
Yeah, thanks. I did a training for marine guiding in South Africa a couple of years ago, and we had a great mentor, and she's an algae expert. And when we were sitting in the class, she actually opened all our eyes about how versatile algae are and how sustainable they also are. So everyone during the class, everyone is sitting and ordering underneath the table, ordering algae for everything. And so I had this in the back of my mind for quite some time on my things that can save the world list. And and when I was working in biotech on cultivated fish, it was always a topic that came up again and again, because also of reasons of sustainability and everything. And then we were actively thinking about a good application, or the best application for the first product, and that's where the period products came from, because we are really not happy with the products that are out there, and especially the ones that are advertised as sustainable. They just don't perform well, and we think it's a really neglected topic, and we need to change that because it's important.
Thank you very much. Any last question?
Maybe one quick question. It means that through the algae, it is possible to actually support the vaginal, how do you say it?
Vaginal. The vaginal health? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the algae support the vaginal health. Yeah.
Yeah, so what we know from the other medical applications, these fibers are able to provide a good environment. And what we really hope is that we can even lower the risk of toxic shock syndrome with these fibers, because that's a big issue. Toxic shock syndrome is a rare but severe medical condition that is connected to tampon use, and so far all the products don't really consider it. So the producers just tell the menstruators, okay, don't use a tampon longer than 8 hours, but I mean, people go to sleep and they don't change it after 8 hours. Everyone knows that, and so we hope to contribute to that we can actually lower the risk.
Thank you. Okay, then, was there another question? Sorry, okay.
Thanks a lot.
Yes,
Yeah?
we have time for one more question.
So just because you were saying it's a real technical innovation, I have two related questions. Both are, is it possible to make a patent out of it, and do you even want that?
Yeah. So the question was about the IP protection situation, and we think that it's we think we're convinced that that it's patentable, and we can have one or several patents on it, and we also want to do that. But part of our strategy is that we also consider B2B licensing of the technology, because we're doing this for impact. So it's also about scale, and we cannot do everything by ourselves. So the ideal scenario is that we could also be like a branded ingredient in other producers' products with a wild inside sticker.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.
So, thank you very much to all the teams for your great presentation. You did a tremendous job. And from the bottom of my heart, I think you can be very proud of yourself, because you did a lot during the last 6 months. So maybe a round of applause to yourself. I know that we from the Impact Hub and from the Better Together team, we are very proud for you, on you, because for 3 reasons. First and foremost, you're still around. Don't take it lightly, especially because you're addressing a very difficult market here, and I mean it. Second, you trusted the process. I know in the beginning there was a lot of concern, but you did it, you learned a lot, and you applied it. And thirdly, you advanced. Some of you enhanced the MVP and strengthened the business case. A couple of you actually realized revenues. And above all, you took the program's name, Better Together, verbally, so you helped each other. And of course, this could not be possible without the help and support of numerous people. So therefore, we would like to thank our advisory board for the great insights. The mentors that volunteered and did it without any payment. Also the experts from the master classes to give us the insight. And last but not least, our partners like Circular Berlin, IZT, Ecologic and Circularity, which worked side by side with us. And I personally would like to thank Sarah, Vero and Anna, who did a very great job and went great lengths to make it all happen. So thank you very much to you guys.
Thank you too.
So once again, if you liked what you have seen, then help us to spread the word, because we are opening another round of application starting tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Yeah, also big thank you. I can just build on what Timo said. Thank you to all of you, and especially also to Vero, who is sitting on the chat and is managing the whole Zoom account. Thank you for that. And also, yeah, and also to Filme fürs Volk, who are helping us with the hybrid event and to do the whole technical setup. Thank you also here. Yeah, and then.
And now, at least for the people that are around, we have some lunch and mix and mingle.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.